This is Cinema. Welcome back to another video. We are back as a channel after a very long time, and we're also back. Well, Marvel is back as well with Loki. Maybe for one season, but that's enough. Um, yeah, and I loved every single minute of the premiere. It was just great from start to finish. So yeah, I watched it yesterday, and it felt kind of different. Like the camera movement, the cinematography, and the story as well, just a little bit. And it's definitely better than the first premiere of season one, in my opinion, as well. So it actually picks off where we left off in the previous season finale, and it turns out that we are not actually Loki's not actually in another universe controlled by Kang. He is in the past version of the TVA, which I think had previously been established to not have been possible because time doesn't work that way in the TVA. But in this episode, it's very different and abstract. And so he's in the past version of the TVA, and he is. That explains why Mobius doesn't know who he is, and everyone else is kind of like just very lost in what's going on, and they're not as bothered with what's about to happen or what may have just happened. And Loki is like trying to figure out what happens, and then we just jump straight into the action with Loki running away from Mobius and another group of agents chasing him. And then we get this like really cool scene or reveal where basically he time glitches again to the present version of the TVA that he has just left. Uh, the one where Mobius actually knows who he is, and then he figures it out, and then he tells Mobius, "Yo, I'm time slipping. We found a guy at the end of the Citadel of Time, and Sylvie's also gone." And they're just freaking out because from like the finale, the timeline has just basically erupted, and multiple variant branches are being created by the second. So fast forward a bit, Mobius and Hunter B-15 get called to this war room to talk about like what's going to happen from there on. And now that they have the knowledge that their memories have been erased multiple times to become TVA agents, and they are all variants. And then Loki goes to the past version of the war room where they're going to talk, and we hear this clip of a Kang variant of some sort, I guess, talking to Renslayer, and then I think he's the one that crafted well, obviously he's the one that crafted the quote for all time always when he was talking to Renslayer, but we don't really know the context of which he was talking to her, which is pretty cool as well. Um, I'm also like looking forward to how they develop Richard Timely and then the other variants of Kang as well, because like he's by far the favorite character of the series for me, and then Mobius, Ouroboros, and Loki as well. So yeah, skip a little bit forward. Mobius takes Loki to meet Ouroboros, who is the creator of like all the gadgets in the TVA, and he's at the very bottom floor of the like whole facility, by the way. And he's also very funny. He's played by Kei Kwan, if I said that right, who starred in Everything Everywhere All at Once. And he's very funny as a character, and I'm starting to like him as well. And basically, time slipping should not be possible in the TVA. And then we get this really cool scene, which is just kind of like crazy, where Loki goes to the past version of that room where he works at, and then we like jumps between the past and present as Loki talks to the past version of OB for short to talk about like his time slipping, and then the present version of OB gets the memories from the past and then talks to Mobius about how to fix it because he's getting new memories as the timeline is beginning to change. So I don't know. I mean, it might have been confusing to some. I personally really liked it because I just like time travel stuff in general, like time travel in fiction, and like yeah, like loops and stuff like that. So it just really interests me, and it was really cool to see that, like the jump cut between the past and the present, and then talking together and how like it changes the timeline as they're going on. What else? So yeah, then we are introduced to, I believe, something called the time loom, which is how a certain piece of technology like puts every single timeline into one strand to create the sacred timeline. But now that the timeline has blown up, it no longer is like contained by that technology, and everything is like beginning to affect the TVA itself because it runs on this like power generator and stuff like that. Blah 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 blah. And the only way to fix Loki's time slipping is to pull Loki out from every instance of the timeline by pruning himself, and then for Mobius to also like suck him out of the portal from the timeline. It's kind of confusing. I don't really get it, but I'm just gonna skip right through it. And then yeah, so basically it works. I think we saw like an older version of Sylvie who pruned him, or a younger version of Sylvie. I couldn't really tell. She shows up like very briefly, and then that's basically where the episode ends, because yeah, it just ends there. And then other agents in the TVA are going to find Sylvie, but there are so many agents that are on that task, so it's kind of suspicious why they're all going to find one person. So and then it just ends there, and then we got this like post-credit scene with Sylvie and McDonald's, like you may have seen it in the promo or the trailer. And then yeah, that's basically where it ends. So yeah, that's about it. I really loved the episode and just how much more time travel was in the actual episode as well. I just really hope they stick the landing though by the end of the sixth episode as well, because I mean it's Marvel, bro. It's either one of two things. It's gonna either end rushed or going to end in a cliffhanger. And I just hope the story and the writing would have been good all the way through till that point. And yeah, that's about it for the review. I recommend you give it a watch. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I'll probably make a video on Gen V as well. And yeah, that's about it. God bless.